So some of the events that have created a world where we're affected by PTSD include the events that began in 1989, then the events in 9/11 and events since then. And then as we study prophecy and we understand that these events have been a part of prophecy in the Bible, then that we further have to deal with our own issues with that, our own feelings. I mentioned a book in an earlier presentation called The Wake of 9/11, The Psychology of Terror. And I have two videos where I talk about this and how this affected polarization and some of the things that are occurring. So the two videos are found in the experience and events of 9/11 and in their video number 4 and number 5. So I would suggest looking at those and considering the effect on our lives. I'd also suggest, for an example, going back and watching or reading the Diary of Anne Frank and some of those types of videos and information, because you see in there how people became arguing with each other even during the Diary of Anne Frank and some of those times. It's a phenomena that we do as people when we're dealing with the effects of PTSD, that things we can't control with war, terrorism, and that kind of thing. So then also in the series on the experience and events of 9/11, the first 3 videos that I did talk about the effects of studying Bible prophecy versus not, how that affects us, or what I observed, and also about the shaking that occurs with that. So I would suggest going back and studying that. During the series that of videos that I did on 1989, the first 4 of those videos talk about hidden agendas that are occurring, and we certainly see those in the external world as signs. Also about causes that we tend to embrace with polarization. Many times those are good causes. There are many good causes in the world now that I feel strongly about. I don't know about you, but I think we all have things we feel strong about that are a good cause. And yet these can be used in a way that can distract us and keep us from studying and staying focused on the things that we need to. And they all play a part in polarization. And it's a difficult time to have discernment about that. You know, when is someone using a good cause that I believe in, but that cause is being used by the powers of darkness as well as other things and other hidden agendas? Well, that gets complicated, okay? So once again, staying focused on the messages of the angels, studying prophecy has helped me. And then coming back to the series of Signs and the Siege, remember that the video number 3 talks about the persecution that occurred to Christians as well as Jews, and how easy it is to be targets. All of these things are happening in our world now. They've been building up for a number of years, especially since 9/11, but also even beginning in 1989, I believe. Video number 4 and number 5 of the series on Signs and the Siege talk about the civil wars that occurred and the political strife and the uniting or attempting to unite church and state and what that meant. And those things are occurring now. So it's important to study these things and pray about them as we're observing this occurring in our world. Video number 6 talks about the peace and safety message that was given that kept people from saving their lives by leaving Jerusalem. When you read Revelation 14 and Revelation 18, there's a call to come out of Babylon. So there's a parallel there as we study these things. Video number 9 and number 10 of Signs and the Siege talk about various religious groups and beliefs. And many times those religious groups and beliefs can seem to us like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, what about this? We have this going on now. So these are things that we need to be aware of and not get distracted. I'm going to come back at a later time to do some deeper studies on what happened in Christ's time with this, what happened in the time of Jehu, and a couple of other parallels with that. But one thing I could say is that this is a time when all of these issues have been used to attempt to get us not to study prophecy, attempt to get us not to study the messages of the angels, attempts to get us to label all of these things, including even just studying the Bible, as being, boy, these people are mentally ill, they're criminal, they're not safe. Remember, during Christ's time, they said the same thing. They called him demon-possessed. So there's a lot of things going on with this. So now that I've said all this, I'm going to just close this with more prayer that this benefits you, and thank you for participating in this study. One more little thing is just when you think about intensity of what's going on in the world as well as in our own lives. The first part of this series, I couldn't get my phone fixed, so I was only getting less than 2 minutes of a video going each time. So that made it pretty intense, but thankfully I figured out how to fix that. So I'm glad about that. I'll talk to you later. Bye.